Hi, I'm Joe Davidson with the Sacramento Bee. Welcome every week to The Buzz. We're going to bring you the best of high school sports, big on football. We're going to tell you about the teams, the coaches, the players, the communities, the campuses. High school sports isn't just an event. It's a happening. It's a social thing.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for your patience. We got off to a little slow technical start. I blame my friend and editor, Jim Patrick. He's the easy foil for that. But, hey, it's technology. It happens. We're glad you're here. We're getting really warmed up for the second week of the Sac Joaquin Section football playoffs. The opening round was last week. No real upsets except for maybe Roseville in Division III and beat Grace Davis, which was 10-0 coming in. Grace Davis complained and bemoaned about its low seed, and this is a lack of respect. Well, you got to go out and win games. And so kudos for number 9 seeded Roseville, and Coach Adam Ranking went down there and pulled the biggest seedings upset. And we'll see some more upsets. We're going to break these down on what games might be seedings upsets or just complete upset as we break down the football fun. No Cameron Salerno this week. He's out and about. He's up in Idaho right now, loyalty to his girlfriend, who is playing her final volleyball match and probably up there signing autographs and taking selfies with the good people in the airport. But we will have Quentin Hamilton of the Modesto Bee to fill us in on some of the teams from the southern part of the section. We call it the 209 collection on there, so we'll have some fun with that. Also have the usual mediocre input from Jim Patrick, who we just mentioned. No, actually, he's quite good with big picture discussion as we break down high school football beyond just the scores and stats and yards and all that. But we're going to show you some video storytelling of 2 games that we saw last week, including Casa Roble and Monterey Trail with our terrific videographers. But really, what's the buzz without at least one little gripe? Last week's gripe was too many teams, when the brackets come out, they complain about their seeding and their opponent. Why are they at this division? Why is that team there? We beat these guys, blah, blah, blah. Just play. Just go out and play. This week, we're going to tone it down a little bit, but it's about the butchering of school names, and it comes up. And so it's Casa Roble, just to refresh, not Casa Robles, as you can see right there, but you see it all the time. It's always the opposing team. Hey, check us out as we take on Casa Robles, and it's Monterey Trail, not Monterey Trails. I've never seen trails anywhere, but you see it on opponents' schedules all the time. And it's Oak Ridge, 2 words, Oak, not Oak Ridge, real fast. And so there we go. So, and there's another one, and it's Casumnes Oaks, not Consumnes or Consumers or anything like that. Same with Casumnes River College. Another one is it's Jesuit, not Jesuit. So that's our gripe for the day. Real simple. But if you're going to take on a team, if you're Granite Bay or if you're Union Mine, you're going to be taking on Monterey Trail or Casa Roble. Just drop the S. Brevity counts. And then, so I feel better. Real quick, let's talk some Sacramento State men's basketball, mostly just high school here. But if there's a local guy with note, we're going to mention him. This is Brandon Laird. This is a great video clip here. Sac State won its opening game the other night and beat William Jessup of Rockland 89-59. If we have it, we have a little video clip up.
Make sure everybody signs it.
Yes, sir.
Wash your hands so your dirty fingers. Man, I'm gonna say this, man. I really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate you guys, man. This is just the start. This is the start of everything we're doing right here. Thank you.
And that's Brandon Laird. He's the first-year coach, longtime assistant coach, who took over in the last minute, last Friday, when longtime coach Brian Katz retired. And Brian Katz is not burned out. He's not going to be coaching anywhere. He's retiring. And it's kind of strategic. It allows the school to really, you have no choice but to elevate Brandon Laird, the top assistant. And he's a good man, a good coach. I think the Hornets are in good hands. He's from El Camino High School, played at UC Davis, so he's local to the core. The team led 35-2 against William Jessup and won that game 89-59. He's got local players, William Fitzpatrick from Vista Del Lago, Zach Chappelle, another guard from Capital Christian. Chris Holly is from Jesuit, another guard, and Theo Sang is from Davis, and Tayana Hardy of Vanis. So they got a lot of local guys. We hear this over the years. How come they don't recruit local? They recruit local. They recruit local in football, basketball, baseball, and all the sports. So playing Utah of the Pac-12 this week. So we will dig in more on Brandon Laird and some of that in the coming weeks. So kudos to him. All right, more video telling before we bring in Quentin Hamilton. We're going to take a look at the Castlevale Rams. This is a video by Sarah Nevis. The Rams are rolling along in Division 5. We love her video storytelling. And Castlevale is an event. We've talked about this with Jim Patrick before. Home games are a real happening. Jason Lindahl is a quarterback. Josh Taylor had a big game the other night with beating El Camino. He had 267 yards, 5 touchdowns. You asked Coach Chris Horner, hey, what do you think of your guy? He's Tarzan. He's our specimen. He took it to him. And so Tarzan and the guys go up to Union Mine on Friday in a Division 5 game. It should be a thriller there. There's a moment right there for El Camino, which kudos to El Camino for getting into the playoffs. It's been a team that's been in decline. Got right back into it from the battle-tested Capital Athletic League, but just not enough defense to slow down Castlevale, which scored 54. And there's Josh Taylor. We talked about him. He runs with physicality and toughness, and Tarzan's his new name. That's what his coach called him. So we appreciate that. And the Castlevale Rams been around a long time. Used to be a Division I school, declining enrollment, still a power, still a factor, still a football product at Division 5. All right, let's take a peek at a Division 2 school that's also played in Division 1 over the years. It's Javier Mascarenas, and this is the Monterey Trail Mustangs of the Oak Grove Unified School District. They took on Brad Hunkins, coach of Wood Creek, in a Division 2 game that I covered last week. And Monterey Trail's got everything going. They got the band, as you can see here. They got rooting section. You got a terrific coach in TJ Ewing, who's their founding coach. They started in 2004, put him in the Sierra Foothill League as a way to grow up in football. And they went 1-19. They found their footing and they got better. There's Ali Collier right there. He had 200 and something yards the other night, 3 touchdowns. Frank Arcuri is the son of the assistant coach. He's been around forever. And they play defense and they run fast. And they're an excellent team, an excellent program. And Monterey Trail in the 2019 playoffs used the Veer. This is the run-heavy offense, the Veer offense, to beat Folsom in the Division I semifinals. High school games had 48 minutes. Monterey Trail in that 2019 game against Folsom had the ball for 40 minutes. So that's how they aim to grind teams away. It worked effectively against Wood Creek, which has a really good team. And they also pounce on fumbles, as you can see right here. They get out of that's Malachi Red, who came up with 2 fumble recoveries. And his coach, Ewing, calls him a savage. I like it when coaches call their players savage, or they call them Tarzan or whatever. So Monterey Trail will now take its act up to Placer County and play Granite Bay in a Division II game this week. We will break that down a little bit later with Jim Patrick. So we appreciate the great video storytelling of our fine photographers. So check that out every day on sacb.com. And we have our friend Quentin Hamilton, who joins us now, and he's from the Modesto B. And we're going to break down some of the 209. Q, it's good to see you. Tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to college? And when did you wind up here in Modesto?
All right. So first of all, thank you for having me. I grew up in Southern California, Riverside area. For my 4 years of undergraduate school, I went to Pacific Union College up near Napa, near the Napa area. And then I went back home, started working for 3 years. And then when the pandemic hit, I decided, try and change it up a little bit. So I went out to Connecticut, got my master's degree in journalism, and then saw that the job for the B opened up and wanted to come back to the West Coast in California. So here I am.
Yeah, good to have you. And you got all kinds of good teams. And we're going to break it down. We'll have some graphics here. They'll have some fun. And we call them the 209 Heavies. Let's break down in Division 1. Since we're up here in Sacramento, there's a lot of the 916. But in the 209 for Division 1, we've got Edison of Stockton, Lincoln of Stockton. Those 2 teams play this week. And so we'll look for them. Lincoln of Stockton's been a factor for a lot of years under Coach Tony Franks. Edison of Stockton almost beat Folsom in the 2019 playoffs. So those are teams to look for in our Division I bracket. We also have top seeded Rockland, number 2 seeded Jesuit, number 3 seeded Folsom. So really good there. Going to the Division II bracket, we have top seeded Central Catholic of Modesto. There's Roger Canapa. But tell us about, what do you like about Central Catholic and their coach? I know he's spirited and fun, but a really good team too.
Yes, Coach Canepa, really good dude. I like him a lot. But the one thing that I do like about Central Catholic is they're pretty battle tested. They played a really tough preseason. Then they played, I guess, the powerhouses in the VOL back to back to back. They beat Oakdale, Kimball, and Manteca in 3 straight weeks. I had also talked with a few of their players on the story that I'm writing for this week, and they're just as close off the field as they are on, which is something that's really important, especially in the playoffs, and how just how if the game is close, you rely on the people in your locker room, people on your sideline more. And so, they battled through injuries this year. They lost their starting quarterback. Julian Lopez ended up getting hurt, came back. And so they haven't really missed a beat. So they're just really battle tested. And, the higher the camaraderie is for your guys on your sideline, the better chance you have of going farther in the playoffs. And they have Lodi this week. Pretty similar playing styles. Lodi kind of runs the ball a lot. They drowned out the clock last week against Downey, so it should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, and Central Catholic has won, I think, 19 section championships, most of them in the smaller divisions. And the Sackville Kings section governing body has a sustained success rule where you keep winning, you move up. And Central Catholic fits just fine in Division II, and Roger, I think, loves it. Fiery and fun. He's from Los Banos, so there's a team to look for. And Granite Bay is the number 2 seed, so it could be a collision course there. A quick peek at the Division III heavies. We got number 1 Oakdale, number 3 Manteca, number 5 Patterson. There's Trent Merzon. He's an Oakdale alum. He quarterbacked Oakdale to the section finals in 1980-something, 1981, 82. Longtime coach there, won a lot of section championships. And they play at the Corral. And have you seen them this year? And is it the same old thing where they just run, and play great defense?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. I've seen them a couple of times. The Corral is crazy, first of all. Great atmosphere, great environment. They have a lot of local people come out from the community and support them at their games. It's a lot of the same. They run the ball a lot. The one thing is, though, they are missing their main running back who got hurt. He hurt his knee. But they do have a good crew of running backs who, they haven't really dropped off that much. They did beat Manteca 28-0. I was at that game also, but they play a lot of defense. Coach Merzon is great. He's a great guy. I like talking to him a lot.
He's not boring. He's very spirited. He's come up with ideas of equity related leagues and playoff brackets. And I appreciate a coach who comes full circle, and he's coached there a long time. He always talks about Oakdale type of kids. He's won a state championship. He's won a lot of section championships. And so kudos to them. And all right, in Division 4, we have, this is Merced. This is the son of the coach. So tell us about this running back and about the Bears.
Yeah, so Merced, that game is going to be really interesting because it's a 4-5 matchup with East Union. I was reading Sean Jansen's article in the Merced Sun-Star, and he was saying how, it's probably going to be somewhat of a shootout. Merced is, averaging, I believe it was 43 points, he said, per game. And then Seth Scheidt, their running back and linebacker, he's coming off probably what is his best week at quarterback. He passed for 315 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then the thing with Merced also is they have a really good running game, but their receivers are also really good. They have one receiver, Evan Perez. He's just really tall. He has great range as receiver. I saw their game against Central Catholic where they almost came back and won. And he had a couple, touchdowns where he caught it diving towards the pylon. And so got both feet in, got the touchdown. So he's someone who's, one of their main targets, and he's a really good receiver too.
Merced used to be a one-school town, huge enrollment, state-ranked number 1 in 1988, powerhouse teams in 89, 90. Mark Speckman was their coach, and he's now the assistant head coach at UC Davis. And so now here's Coach Schneid now, and he's got his son Seth, or Schmidt, I should say. And the tradition keeps rolling with all these new schools, so kudos to them. And then in the 209 heavies for the Division 5, we have top-seeded Escalon, number 3 Sonora, number 5 Ripon, number 6 Hillmore. All of those teams, Quentin, over the decades have had great success. Escalon's won 9 section championships, won a state championship. There's Escalon picture right there. You talk about small school pride. That's the epitome of it right there with the Escalon Cougars.
Right. So Escalon is a really interesting team, actually. I was talking with their coach multiple times during the season, and he's been telling me that, they start 4 sophomores and 1 freshman. And that's not really something you see at the varsity level. And their sophomore quarterback, he's been really good for them all year. But they have a freshman, Ryan Lewis. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He plays defensive end and tight end, and he's leading their team in sacks. And so, they just have a really, really young team, but he said that he doesn't treat them like young players. He thinks that they have enough experience now to where, they'll be able to have some success. And they were originally in D6. They won the TVL, which is a really, really tough Division 5 league. And then, they had to move up to D5, but they still earned the number 1 seed. So, they're doing something right.
Oh, they're doing a lot of things right. I'm amazed at the staying power at these schools such as Hillmar or Escalon. 30 years ago, they were a power, and they're still a power, and people come out, and the whole town and the whole community comes out. And Quentin, it was great to have you. We're going to have you come on next week and break some more of it down. Give him a read if you like high school sports anywhere, and he's a fun follow on Twitter as well. And we'll see you soon, and thanks for the input.
Thanks for having me.
All right. There's Quentin, and just good to have him here. It's I couldn't imagine coming from out of area and covering high schools. Of course I did, some long time ago, but it's different now with, there's so much competition and websites and all that, but he's doing a great job with our friends down at the Modesto B. All right. Jim Patrick has been throwing dishes around. That's what he said on social media. There he is right there. And welcome my friend our editor, Jim Patrick. And I had a tweet and I said, hey, we're getting off to a little slow start, so don't throw any vegetables. He said, I've been throwing pots and pans and,
Yeah, I'm not going to give everybody air sickness by lifting up my laptop and show you, but there's stacks of dishes behind me. We are in Thanksgiving prep mode here. We've got the 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle for Dad to sit down with. I don't know if anybody else does that at a holiday, but I don't know what else to do with my old man. We go to high school football games and we do jigsaw puzzles. So
I remember in 2019 he came out to Hughes Stadium at Sacramento City College for the section championships, and
he'll be out at section championships as well this year.
Let's put him to work. He's got to
finish that puzzle first. That's the deal. He's got to get the work done.
So is your shirt. Where it said.
Joe just likes that I'm wearing this. Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, let me just put this right here.
That's it. Mine is a statement of where I moved here from. Yours is just good grammar. I'm a grammar idiot. So Heather got me this. She goes, hey, since you're such a nerd on this kind of stuff. Anyways, I had to do that. But anyway, so here we are. We've got some brackets to break down, and why don't we just throw up the Division I bracket right away? Here's our games that we're looking in. All games are Friday night at 7 p.m. except for Jesuit at Saturday 1 o'clock against Del Oro. All divisions are Friday night games. Jesuit's the only one hosting on Saturday. Jim, what jumps out at you here among others? Yeah, I think lots of things. I think Rockland's going to roll is one thing I think, and that's no slight at all against Sheldon. It's just I saw both teams play this year, and I got to give Rockland a significant edge in that game. But the one I got circled, Joe, and it's obvious is to us locally is Lincoln Stockton at Folsom. Because that Lincoln team is good. They're always good. And they've given Folsom a run before in the playoffs, as I recall, 2 years ago. Maybe I'm recalling incorrectly.
No, that was actually Edison of Stockton. But you know what it does speak of, though, Jim, is that the Stockton schools have not fared well over the years outside of St. Mary's of Stockton. Mm-hmm. And in the last few years, they've closed the gap, including Edison of Stockton almost beating Folsom a couple years ago. And we have a roundtable that we're going to run tomorrow in print, and it's also online. You, Cameron, Salerno, and me, and we're kind of debating about this and that. And you had a good point. You said, "Hey, Lincoln of Stockton is going to really challenge Folsom, and don't be stunned if it's an upset." Folsom's going to have Tyler Tremaine back at quarterback. He's missed the last few games with a banged up non-throwing shoulder. When Tyler Tremaine is in that offense, they started off 6-0 and they looked all world. And then De La Salle came up and crashed the party. So I think you said in our roundtable that it's like March Madness. The upsets start happening now.
They do, and the reason I circle that too, Joe, is the defense. Tyler Tremaine doesn't play defense, and the Folsom defense has given up 31 and 40 points in 2 of their last 3 games. So I think somebody saw something on tape. I think these coaches have seen a way to attack the Folsom defense. Part of that is certainly ball control and time that your defense is spending on the field. I'm not ignoring that. But, that's part of the reason when we talk about Folsom, and I'm not looking for reasons to doubt Folsom. I'm just saying their recent results have been they've looked very human, and we are not used to seeing Folsom look very human, Joe.
Yeah, and it's interesting because just 3 or 4 years ago, the Sierra Foothill League, the other coach is tried to start this movement to get Folsom removed from the league, just saying they're too strong and can't handle them. Well, the section's not going to just do that because one school wants them out or 5 schools. So you have to close the gap. And it's the same thing that happened with Grant. Grant in the 1980s and 90s dominated people. In the 90s and 2000s, I should say, teams closed the gap and passed them. And that's what's happening now with Folsom.
We'll see what
Folsom's got the ability to win this thing again.
Folsom winning it all wouldn't surprise me, and Folsom getting knocked out wouldn't surprise me. They like at all ranges of possibility, which is what we love about it, right? From a storytelling standpoint, it's
Absolutely.
If anything could happen, then it's the best possible story. D2 though, Joe, strikes me as because we all name Division II games as being the most probably the most interesting bracket. We've got tons of local teams in there, and that's partly why. But tell me, does Lodi have a chance against Central Catholic, or is Central Catholic just going to roll?
Well, anybody with a mascot, Flames, I think we say the Lincoln Zebras have the best mascot. The Flames are pretty good. They have a chance. Lodi pushed St. Mary's to the end in a game recently, regular season, but I think Central Catholic, like Quentin said, just so strong. And Whitney and Antelope is 9-0. Had a bye last week, didn't play 10 games because I think one of them was scratched against Elk Grove with COVID issues. Caron Borders is rampaging towards 2,000 yards. Elk Grove Vacaville is my game. You've been to Vacaville. It's a great atmosphere there. Elk Grove's beaten them 4 times in the playoffs over the years, all battles. Granite Bay Monterey Trail is a toss-up game. Those coaches know each other from a long time ago. So I think these are all terrific. I would say Central Catholic. I'm going to go with the home team Titans. I'm going to go with the visiting Thundering Herd, which is a great dark horse at number 6. And I like Granite Bay protecting home turf.
I feel like I need to defend Vacaville's honor. I've covered a game there, and they look really good to me, Joe. I saw them take on Granite Bay, I believe. No. I saw them take on Oak Ridge, and they beat Oak Ridge, and they look good beating Oak Ridge. So I think that Whitney Antelope game is the one that I'd circle as probably the most interesting there. But they're all good. I'd go to Lodi Central Catholic. The thing is, we don't really cover those teams. So
yeah, we got Quentin to help us with that.
Maybe not that.
All right,
D3 then.
Let's go with these 3 real quick, and here we go. So Roseville coming off the win at 10-0 Grace Davis and Modesto. So now hey, what's your reward? Well, you get another long road trip. And you get the Oakdale Mustangs at the Corral. We talked about how good Oakdale's been over the years. I think Oakdale will win here. Patterson, Yuba City is a terrific game. Yuba City's got Nick Afato, who's a dual threat quarterback. Number 6, Sacramento Dragons, Sacramento Charter. You've seen them. Manteco Buffaloes. Number 7, Christian Brothers taking on the defensive tyrants of the Lincoln Zebras. That is your game there. But before you touch on that game, I think Sac High for a young team, young quarterback, young running back. This could be an upset happening here at Manteca, though Manteca has handled Sac High in the playoffs before.
And I think Justin Reber is very quick. The Sacramento coach, Justin Reber, is very quick to say these kids make young kid mistakes still, and he puts that asterisk by the Sacramento Dragons still. So, and he's quick to say they got to play a perfect game against Manteca. They can't just play good. They can't have a strong game. They got to play perfect or really close to perfect against Manteca. I think it's possible. I think I've seen Sacramento put together multiple quarters upon 2 or 3 quarters where they are not making dumb mistakes and they're plowing through their competition. So yeah, I mean that Sacramento game, I can see where they would win that game. I'm not putting Manteca on upset notice. I think Manteca is the favorite and they should be the favorite. The game that I've circled is that number 7 Christian Brothers at number 2 Lincoln game, because man, I mean, I don't know what to make Christian Brothers still, Joe. I have seen them play a half of football, and I don't have a read on that. In fact, you tell me, Joe, what do you think of that game that I'm going to be at tomorrow night?
Well, it's an interesting game for sure. So you get Christian Brothers, which has Jake Elordi, a superb quarterback, Philip Bell, a national recruit, freshman wide receiver, DJ Crowther. What's his availability? Is he going to play? Is he going to be an impact? He certainly
didn't play last week. Worth noting.
Interesting, and he is a dynamic running back return specialist. So from what I can see, Jim, you have the skill speed guys of Christian Brothers going against Jordan Wagner, the super linebacker for the Lincoln Zebras, and their offense and their good schedule. I think you go with defense. You go with defense and hard hitting. The Oak Grove coaches, after Oak Grove pulled away from Lincoln, raved about Jordan Wagner, the linebacker, and said that anybody could win a championship with a kid like that. And you're going to love that atmosphere up there. It's the place will be packed, and there's a mascot running around and a band. It's I know you dig some of that, whether it's at Delta or at Vacaville or places like that. And so it's interesting. If we could pull up the Division I bracket real quick, we didn't touch on that. So I'm going to go with Rockland. I'm going to agree with you, Jim. I think the pass rush for Rockland's been too strong, though Sheldon's had a terrific year under Coach Chris Nixon. I'm going to go with St. Mary's in this game. They've won 9 in a row. Opening losses were to De La Salle and Central Catholic. I'm going to go with Folsom. I think Tyler Tremaine is a difference maker, but you're right. The defense has to make better stops. Del Oro at Jesuit. Jesuit is such a tough place to play. On a day game there, it's always hot. It'll be 104 degrees there probably. Jesuits won 9 in a row. Marlon Blanton is a Coach of the Year candidate. Kai Wallen. But Del Oro would have to play out of its mind, and it's capable with Coach Mike Mabin, and Aiden Perry is a dual guy. So I would think Jesuit's going to keep rolling here. So let's get back to let's go Division 4.
As we zigzag through the brackets to Division 4.
Let's confuse people here.
Joe,
so we have.
Let me jump in here, Joe.
Yes, sir.
The thing that jumps out at me the most, just overarchingly, we had one upset last week, right? Mm-hmm. One seeding upset, and that was Roseville winning. Does that sound right?
Yeah, Roseville beat 10-0 Grace Davis and Modesto, and so that was an 8 versus 9.
Right.
And so it's when you're 10-0 and you lose, you're upset, literally.
Yeah,
and so that was an upset.
I get that. I'm just from a seeding standpoint, it is, here we go. I'm impressed. I guess first, what you really got to say is hats off to the section for doing a good job seeding, because they apparently got it right. You can't argue with them. The higher seed won almost every game.
They did. It used to be, Jim, that the first round would have 16 teams in the upper division, and you would get these 8-2 team would play Folsom. It'd be 7-0. And they said, we got to give these guys opening round buys. It also aligns with what's going on with the other sections around the state. So,
and it's just fair to the kids who've been playing all.
It's exactly right. So top seeded Kimball has a great quarterback that Quentin Hamilton of the Modesto B was telling us about. They're from the Valley Oak League, probably the heavy favorite there. Merced East Union is a nice toss-up game from 2 teams from down there. Here's an interesting game. Placer, Vista Del Lago. Vista Del Lago beat Placer early this season, non-league game. I think it was 47-37. So I think the under and over is going to be all over the place. I think both teams are going to score a ton. Vista Del Lago's got a great quarterback in Jacob Hollingshouse. Tyler Pearson's a running back. Placer has not lost since its 0-4 start. Is rolling on. The coach Joey Montelia says they're healthy, playing better, getting along, and so that could be a quote seedings upset. And then Dixon at number 2, Vannon, which is old school rivals meeting up.
Joe, it's quick. It's worth noting real quick. This Vista Del Lago team has scored at least 28 points in almost every. There's one game, the season opener, they scored 22 points. Every game since that, they've scored at least 28 points. Has Vista Del Lago.
Yeah, and one early loss was to Granite Bay. No shame there.
Right. The problem is the defense gives up 3 or 4 touchdowns a game on average.
Yeah, and that's kind of Norman High School football. And Vista Del Lago graduated everybody. I saw them in the spring and graduated everybody, quarterback, all their linemen, skill players. So for them to reload and fare well in the Capital Athletic League, including a nice win over Sac High, that's a nice job by that coaching staff and those guys, and looking to keep winning. That's a relatively newer school in Folsom. All right, let's take a peek at Division 5. We have Woodland at number 1, Escalon, Ripon, and Pioneer. I've seen Pioneer. You've seen Pioneer. Hillmar, Sonora, Casa Roble, Union Mine. We've both seen Casa Roble. I've seen Union Mine. Another quote-unquote seedings upset could certainly be Casa Roble at Union Mine. That's a fun game. And then I would think Escalon's going to keep on rolling. They're the number 1 seed for good reason.
I would love to call upsets, Joe, but I'm looking at this Division 5 bracket and thinking, I don't feel like making waves here, man. Like this seems about right to me.
Jim Silva, who's a part of our production crew, just sent us a note saying Hillmar is getting healthy and improving. So he's calling it. Hillmar, the Yellow Jackets, let's go.
Love it. We got to get him on the show so he can yell at you.
Yeah, and Casa Roble's they're still waiting for their cyborg. So Coach Chris Horner's got Tarzan, he's got Cyborg, and Cyborg is their sophomore receiver, Owens, who's not played the last month because he's got 2 fractured toes. Does that sound painful? I mean, it just sounds, I've heard of a sprained ankle, high ankle sprain, whatever, turf toe, but that takes a few weeks to get healthy from that.
Definitely. Let's take a look at D6, Joe. I think I got an upset pick. Yeah, nope, it's in D7. I can't do it here. D7.
So number 1, Bradshaw Christian. I saw them run heavy team. They'll run for up to 4,000 yards in a season. Rosemont. I saw the Wolverines of the Sac City Unified School District. Good team there. Waterford, Livingston, Liberty Ranch at Argonaut. Argonaut is up in Jackson. Play on grass, natural grass. I would think that all the higher seeds are going to win here, but what do we know? We don't crunch down a lot of film. But this
is definitely. We've seen Bradshaw Christian play a couple times. We've seen Rosemont play a couple times. I think we've seen enough to say that Rosemont could definitely give Houston a game. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and this is the bracket where there's a lot of road travel.
And Quentin tells me that Waterford's got an offense that just can light up the scoreboard. So
how about that?
If you're looking to call a shot, I'm going to call Rosemont over Houston as my upset pick of the Division 6 bracket.
I love it. All right, Division 7. So we have 7 divisions. Rio Vista at Woodland Christian, Delta and Sparto, Big Valley Christian, LeGrand, Mariposa County at number 2, Vacaville Christian. So Woodland Christian, Delta, and Vacaville Christian, I believe, are all in the same league. You've seen Woodland Christian. Yeah. You've seen Delta.
Yeah.
We had somebody
I've seen Woodland Christian and Delta play, and Woodland Christian barely – I mean, they won that game, but it was a very close game. And for that reason, I'm picking Delta as an upset win. I think Delta is better than they've shown, and I think they can pull that game off.
Yeah, and Esparto used to be of the northern section for a long time, so that's a fun league there. I think Woodland Christian, keep riding that pony as long as you can. Rio Vista, I think, gained 3 forfeit wins, which is part of low roster numbers and COVID and all that, but they're in. Some good argument. How can Forest Lake Christian, which beat Delta in a season finale to go to 8-2, not get in the playoffs? Well, it's what the board of managers and the selection committee has voted on, strength of schedule and this and that. That can be changed. You can't just change it on the fly, but you could feel bad for Forest Hill of Placer County not getting in at 8-2, especially after a win against Delta. So it happens, Jim Patrick. It happens.
Am I going to get hate mail from Esparto? Is that what's going to happen?
I
encourage everybody to send their hate mail to csalerno@sacb.com and just really give me an earful at csalerno@sacb.com.
That's right. So there we go. And you're going to be at Lincoln of Placer County. I'll be in Solano County for the Oak Grove Thunder and Herd taking on the Vacaville Bulldogs. We have no rain. Let's keep that going. We don't have any rain next week.
Why do you even got to bring that up, man? Why?
Because I want to hold off the elements. We want to.
You're jinxing it. I'm going to be out there with a clipboard tomorrow, covering my head. Because
I'll be in the press box because that's what I do. That's what I do.
One drop of rain on my head, Joe, and you're fired. That's the deal,
terminated. Jim, my friend, always good to have you. We'll see you soon. We'll talk to you later on. And everybody else, we thank you so much. Special thanks to our behind-the-scenes crew, Jim Silva, David Caraccio. They do all these great graphics, and we appreciate that. And our terrific videographers, Sarah Nevis and Javier Mascarenas. If you missed part of the show, first of all, shame on you, but check on the sacbeatsite.com site. All the previous shows are there to view anytime you want. Check us out every day on sacb.com. Same with our friend Quentin Hamilton of the Modesto Bee. We appreciate everybody. We cover this region inside and out because it warrants it, and we appreciate your reading, your viewership, and your following. Everybody, we'll see you soon.